Good morning, students. Hope everybody is fine. Before Diwali break, we have completed this lesson, and only the last paragraph of this lesson, lesson number 5, when people rebel, was remaining. So, just today, I'm going to start with once again the recap, that is a recall of the lesson from the beginning, what we have read in this lesson. In this lesson, we have seen that how people rebel. The people here is denoting about the Indians, the Indian people, why they rebel against the Britishers, and the years after what all happened in 1857. So we have seen in this that Nawabs lost their powers. In this paragraph, we have seen that the mid 18th century, Nawab and Rajas had seen their power erode, and erode means here their power was lost, and they had gradually lost their authority and even their honor just because of the Britishers. Then further we see that in these Nawabs and rulers, we have read about Rani Lakshmi Bai. Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, he wanted the company to recognize her adopted son as the heir to the kingdom. But after the death of the husband, and Nana Sahib, who was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao, also pleaded that he had to be given his father's pension, and but all these pleas were refused by the Britishers, and they did not wanted Lakshmi Bai also to recognize the adopted son as the heir, and even Peshwa Bajirao pleaded was refused by the Britishers. Next, we have seen that how Awadh was also, which was the last territory, was annexed to by the Britishers under subsidiary alliance, and this was said that by General Dalhousie that just because of the misgoverned, and Awadh needs the British rule to ensure the proper administration, and that is why it is to be annexed under the Britishers. So this was the reason given by the Britishers for annexing Awadh. Next, we have seen also about that Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of Red Fort and given another place in the Delhi to reside. So all these uh, things just to show the disrespect against the rulers was done by the Britishers, and that is why the rulers, the Nawabs, got very much angry uh, against the Britishers, and they rose their views against the Britishers. The peasants and the sepoys. Now, this was about the Nawabs and Rajas. Now, peasants and the sepoys. Here we have seen that the peasants and sepoys also were very much against the Britishers, because Indian sepoys, who were employed in the company, they were discontented. Why? Because they were very much unhappy about the payment, about the allowances, and their service period which the company was giving was very much different from what they were means what the company was giving to the British soldiers. So the uh, difference was clearly seen over there, and that is why the sepoys went against the Britishers. Some new rules were also imposed on these Indian soldiers. They were asked to go for overseas to fight for the company, and they did not want, the Indian sepoys did not want to go overseas and fight, because they thought that it would be just a violation of their religious sensibilities and beliefs, and thus this was also the reason for the uh, discontentment by the sepoys. Next, we see about the peasants also rose against this Britishers, because the method of revenue collection was very much harsh by the Britishers, and even whatever taxes the Britishers were taking, it was very high, which the peasants could not pay those taxes, very high taxes, and thus they had to give away their lands to the Britishers, because they were not able to pay the high taxes to the Britishers. And the revenue which was collected by these peasants were also was very harsh treatment. Means if they were not able to pay these revenues to the Britishers, they were treated very badly. Next, we have seen that many new reforms were taken place, that new laws were passed to stop the practice of sati, and the encouragement to remarriage of widows were also there. That means the widow remarriage. Some of the policies which were started by the Britishers were, today we can find that it is good, but in the previous earlier years it was felt by the Indians, our ancestors, that it was not good, and it hindered the customs and traditions of the Indian society. And it was also said about the Britishers that they uh, had passed new laws according to which the conversion to the Christianity was easier. That means those who want to convert their religion from other religion to they wanted to come to Christianity, it was very easier for them to convert themselves to Christianity. And even few things were given. The one who had changed the religion to Christianity, they were given special privileges. That means they were given the privileges to inherit the property of their ancestors. Means whatever property they were having of their forefathers, they can have their control on that property, and their property will be given to them only if, in the reason was there, that if they change their religion from their own religion to Christianity. Next, we have seen that the mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. Now slowly this rebellion, this opposition was uh, increasing day by day. A very large number of people began to believe that they have a common enemy. Now, slowly, people had a belief. They now come to know that they had a common enemy, and the common enemy was the Britisher, to whom they had to drive out of the country. And the situation to develop people how to organize, communicate, and take initiative to display the confidence to turn the situation around. Now they wanted totally to organize themselves and to take initiative to throw the Britishers out of their country. Next, we have also seen that the East India Company faced a massive rebellion that started in May 1857, and this rebellion had very much threatened, very much made afraid the company uh, in India, the presence of company in India. Next, we have seen the Merit to Delhi. That means the march from Merit to Delhi. People were gathering in groups uh, and rising against the Britishers. That means on 29th of March 1857, the young soldier Mangal Pandey, we have read about Mangal Pandey, that he was a soldier and was hanged to death because he had attacked the officers in Barakpur. And after that, there many sepoys rose against the Britishers, and they attacked and killed many British officers after Mangal Pandey. But Mangal Pandey's death, they also started attacking and killing many British officers, and they captured guns, ammunition, and set fire to the buildings and properties of the British and declared war on Firangis. Now, slowly, they have also declared the war. All the soldiers had declared war on Firangis. Firangis here denote to the foreign people, that is the Britishers. Now the soldiers, the Indian soldiers, were very much determined to bring the end to the rule. To whose rule? To the British rule in our country. Now they were very much strict to bring an end to the British rule in our country. Then after that, they marched to Red Fort in Delhi, to Red Fort, and they proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. Now, as soon as Bahadur Shah was made the leader, the small rulers and chieftains controlled different, those who were having the different territories on behalf of the Mughal ruler, and they were also very much threatened by the British rule. They also joined the Mughal emperor and against the Britishers. And then Thus, we see that the rebellion spread in many of the other uh, states also. And the nodal points, main points of rebellions were Delhi, Kanpur, and Lucknow. And after that, the people of the towns and villages also rose up in rebellion and rallied around local leaders. Jamindars and chiefs means small groups arose with the leaders as jamindars and chiefs, and the local leaders they used to uh, uh, means they used to the people used to follow these zamindars and chiefs who were against the Britishers. And then further we have seen that Nana Sahib in Kanpur, he gathered the armed forces against the Britishers. In Lucknow also, Brijesh Kadir also, the son of the deposed Nawab Wajid Ali, he also rose against the Britishers. After that, we have seen the Begum Hazrat Mahal also took an active part in organizing against the Britishers. And after that, Jhansi, Rani Lakshmi Bai joined with the Tantia Tope, also rose against the Britishers. So all these slowly, each and every person was joining one or the other group to rise against, to show discontentment against the Britishers, and they had made up their mind to uh, drive away the Britishers from our country. Now, many new leaders also came up from, for example, Ahmadullah Shah, the Maulvi from Faizabad, prophesied that the rule of the British would come to an end soon. Now, he had given the wordings, Ahmadullah, that the rule of British will soon come to an end from India. Then next year, another new leader was Bakht Khan. He was a soldier from Bareilly, and he took charge of the large force of fighters who come to Delhi. Then Kunwar Singh also we have read about, who joined the rebel sepoys. Sepoys means soldiers, and battled with the British for many months. And thus we see many new leaders also came in front to uh, join the rebellion. Now, day by day, this rebellion was increasing from one state to another, one territory to another. Now, company was very much afraid and wants to suppress this upheaval anyhow. And thus, what now company did? Now, uh, the last Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar was tried in the court and sentenced to life imprisonment. Now, the company had imprisoned Bahadur Shah Zafar for the life imprisonment, and his son was also shot dead before the eyes. And the wife Begum Zinat Mahal was also sent to the prison in Rangoon in October 1858. So this was to suppress the revolt anyhow and to regain the respect, the power in India. This all things were now the company was doing. Now, Lucknow was also taken in March 1858. Rani Lakshmi Bai was defeated and killed in June 1858. And Tantia Tope escaped to the jungle. And from jungle, he used to fight the guerrilla war. And guerrilla war, I had made you clear before only what was guerrilla war. And thus, we have seen that hundred of sepoys, rebels, nawabs, and rajas were tried and hanged. So, till here only before the holidays we have done. And now we come to the last topic of this lesson is aftermath. Now, aftermath means the result of the events, that is, whatever events were going on in 1857 to drive the Britishers away, what all things were now happening after that revolt. What was the result of these upheaval, these revolts? Now, the British had regained control. Now, after suppressing the revolt, uh, the Nawab, the leader Bahadur Shah was imprisoned and life imprisonment was given, and afterwards he died. His family was sent to Rangoon jail and all, and then thus the British regained the control of the country by the end of the 1859. But they could not carry on ruling the land with same policies anymore. Though the Britishers regained the control over the country, but the same policies were not uh, taken into consideration. Now, new policies were made after the recapture of, after the recontrol of over the Indians. Now, given below are the important changes that were introduced by the Britishers. Now, when the Britishers came to have the recontrol over Indians. Now, what all changes were made? These changes are given over here. You can underline now. These are the changes. First, the British Parliament passed a new act in 1858. Now, new act was passed and which transformed the powers of East India Company to British Crown in order to ensure the more responsible management of the Indian affairs. Now, previously here in India, before this uprising of 1857, East India Company was responsible for everything, means for each and every administrative affairs and all. But now, after the regain of the control on Indian people, the British Parliament passed a new law, new act, according to which the powers from East India Company was taken back and was given to the British Crown, means to the British, we can say, Queen, in order to ensure more responsible management to Indian affairs. A number of British cabinet was appointed Secretary of the State of India and made responsible for all matters related to the governance of India. He was given a council of advice him called the India Council. So he was also given a council to advise him called Indian Council. So everything now was uh, made in the proper way. The Governor General of India was given the title of Viceroy. Now, again, another change was made that the Governor General, previously it was termed as Governor General. Now, from Governor General, the title of Viceroy was being given to the uh, one who used to see the administrative affairs in India. That is the personal respective of crown. Through this measures, the British government accepted the direct responsibility for ruling India. Now, second change was all ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. Now, second main step taken after recontrol over Indians was that the chiefs, the Indian ruling chiefs who were there already in India, they were assured by the Britishers that their territory will never be annexed, will not be taken in future. Means they will have their own control. The Indians ruling chiefs will have their own control over their territories, and their territories will not be taken in future by the Britishers. They were allowed to pass their kingdoms to their heirs, including adopted sons. Now, previously, as we have seen in the case of Rani Lakshmi Bai, he was refused to uh, means for his son, who was the adopted son, to sit on the throne after the death of husband of Rani Lakshmi Bai. But now uh, it was passed, the law was passed that the kingdom of the heirs, including the adopted son, will be given uh, by the Britishers. Now, however, they were made the acknowledge that British Queen as the sovereign paramount, but the British Queen will be the whole and soul in charge still. Thus, the Indian rulers were to hold the kingdoms as subordinates to the British crown. Means the Indian rulers will be there ruling their own territories, but they will rule under the British crown, under the supremacy of the Queen. Now, the third change, it was decided that the proportion of Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced. Now, the number of soldiers, Indian soldiers, will be reduced and the number of European soldiers would be increased. Now, it was also decided by the Britishers that the Indian soldiers in the European army will be reduced and the number of European soldiers will be increased in the army. It was also decided that instead of recruiting soldiers from Awadh, Bihar, Central India, and South India, more soldiers would be recruited from among the Gurkhas, Sikh, and Pathans. So this was the step taken that instead of appointing soldiers from Awadh, Bihar, and Central India and South India, soldiers will be appointed from Gurkhas, Sikh, and Pathans. Then the next, the land and property of Muslim was confiscated on the large scale, and they were treated with suspicion and hostility. Another step, big step was taken, was that the property and land of Muslims was taken under control of Britishers, and the British believed that they were responsible for the rebellion in big way. Why they the property and land of Muslims are taken? Because Britishers thought that these Muslims were only responsible for the rebellion of 1857. Next, the British decided to respect the customary religious and social practices of people in India. Now, British also decided to have a respect for Indian customs and traditions. The next policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars and give them security of rights over their lands. Now, another thing the British decided to that was to make the policies which were made to protect the landlords and zamindars, and their security means their rights over their lands was secure of Indian landlords and zamindars, and thus the new phase of history began after 1857. For the heavenly kingdom of great peace, while the revolt was spreading in India, in 1857, a massive popular uprising was raging in southern parts of China also. Now, when the uprising was there in 1857 in India, in southern parts of China also, the revolt was there. It had started in 1850 and could be suppressed only by the mid 60s. Thousands of laboring poor people were led by Hong Kong to fight for the establishment of the heavenly kingdom of great peace. Means many laborers and poor people were in this rebellion in southern part of China. They wanted to have the peaceful kingdom over there, and this was known as Tapping Rebellion, and this rebellion was called as Tapping Rebellion. And Hong Kong was a convert to Christianity and was against the traditional religious practice in China, such as Confucianism and Buddhism. So this was the reason why people went against this, and the rebellion was uh, Tapping wanted to establish a kingdom where a form of Christianity was practiced, where no one had any private property, where there was no difference between social classes and between man and woman, where consumption of opium, tobacco, alcohol, and activities like gambling, prostitution, and slavery were prohibited. Means all these uh, bad habits, we can say, to be abolished, and everybody should be treated equally. This was only the main intention of this revolution in southern part. And the British and France armed forces operating in China helped the emperor of Qing dynasty to put down the Tapping rebellion. Thus we see the southern part of the China also this rebellion was there. Uprising of the common people, poor people was there against the authority. And here we have seen that in 1857 also we have seen that a great rebellion was there against the Britishers who were at that time ruling in India. But slowly again they recaptured, the Britishers recaptured all the territories of India, gaining total control over India. But finally, they had made new policies through which they can administer India more properly. Now, this come to an end to the lesson. I think I hope everybody has completed the question answers which I had shared you in the student portal, and everybody has completed all the question answers. Now, in our next class, we are going to start with geography. So, in a class whenever we are having a class, please be ready with your geography books. Thank you.